Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And there has been an update on the David Cameron-Humza Yousaf spat, where Cameron is threatening to close down all of the Pretendy Embassies dotted across the world. Humza Yousaf has basically begged him on bended knee not to do it. Now, he's claiming that it's one thing, Scotland needs this representation, trade, recognition, and blah, 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 and all a whole line of utter BS that he's likely to give. But in actual fact, the real reason, of course, is that he knows that he is now under pressure and has to be seen as an effective leader, finally, I suppose, and that if Cameron does follow through on his pledge and closes these down, it will be perhaps the final nail in the coffin of Humza Yousaf's leadership. We've already seen today how that is very much under serious threat. So we'll take a look at this piece to see how bad it could be for Humza and why he is desperate for David Cameron to not fulfil his threat. Here goes. Right, so as I say, this was one of the first stories this morning when we talked about Cameron threatening Humza Yousaf and saying that unless he sort of starts doing as he's told, knowing his place, and stop talking to world leaders without representatives of the UK government there, then they would end these, what they call embassies, what the SNP calls embassies, and what the British government call rooms, back rooms, Anyway, Humza Yousaf pleads with David Cameron not to shut the Scottish embassies as the UK government snub comes back to haunt him. And of course, he just likes to think he's far, far more important than he is, and he really isn't. And that's why Cameron put him in his place today. Brought him to heel. Here, boy, sit, do as you're told, have a biscuit. The First Minister was rebuked by the Foreign Secretary for failing to invite a UK government official to his controversial meeting with human rights violator Turkish President Erdogan. Humza Yousaf has pleaded with David Cameron not to shut down these embassies, and the Foreign Secretary rebuked the First Minister for failing to include an official at the Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office at his meeting with the Turkish President at the COP28 a couple of weeks ago. Oh, last week. Sorry, the end of last week. It is official guidance for SNP ministers to ensure that there is a representative from Westminster at any meetings with foreign dignitaries. This is to ensure they don't end up discussing reserved matters such as independence and Brexit, and also not to damage previously held UK positions by having a different position than what the official UK government position is. So, for example, the UK government do not discuss a Gaza ceasefire. Humza Yousaf did. That is against what the government are saying. At that moment, it should be treated as treason. Anyway, the First Minister broke these rules during the climate summit last month when he met with Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Sorry if I'm mangling that name. This was in Dubai. The meeting was mired in controversy as the SNP councillor and the refugee Rosa Saleh said that she was disgusted by this due to his government, Erdogan's, alleged killing of Kurds. Nothing alleged about it. He is a criminal murderer, blood on his hands. He is committing genocide of the Kurds. Lord Cameron slapped down the Scottish Government in a letter on Sunday where he said the absence of an official contravenes the protocols in our guidance on the FCDO support to devolved government ministers' overseas visits. Basically, if you go on an overseas visit, you do not talk to official dignitaries or foreign dignitaries without Westminster minders, someone from the diplomatic corps or minister or some such, because you don't want to create an incident or go against what has been agreed at a diplomatic level. It's very simple. Cameron then went on and warned him that any further breaches would result in them putting facilitation of meetings and logistical support. So they'll be pulling these rooms and not allowing them to call them what they're not anyway, calling them Scottish embassies, but they're not. He also added that they would need to consider the presence of Scottish Government offices in the UK government posts. This would mean no more international offices for SNP ministers to enjoy foreign taxpayer junket trips as most of these are based in the UK embassies. So next time, you know, the likes of Angus says, I'm going to go and visit, well, where can I go? Oh, I don't know. Let's go to, and picks a place. Normally he'd turn up and then go to the British Embassy, and he would have a complimentary room. He would have office space, things like that he could do his business. That will be pulled because he is not official government. He's not diplomatic. He has no official standing. That's pulled. So he'd go over there expecting to get in, and they'll go, oh, very nice to see you. No, please go. Oh, but I want to use. We don't care what you want to use. You should have thought of that before, mister. And again, he's going to stand there and look all very embarrassed and then moan that it's Westminster's fault. But of course it isn't. They were warned. They were warned a second time, and now they've breached it for a third time, and it's starting to be clamped on. And they don't like it up them, do they? They really don't like it up them. There are currently 7 SNP Executive International offices in Beijing, Berlin, Copenhagen, Dublin, Ottawa and Paris, which are based within already active UK-wide embassies. And they are used by nationalist politicians to hold meetings with foreign diplomats. They should not be meeting with foreign diplomats. They're not they're not a nation. They're not official. Foreign diplomats should only be met with diplomats from the United Kingdom, and that's it. Yousaf was forced to plead with Lord Cameron not to follow through with his threat. Please don't do this. It will make me look bad, just as everyone's ganging up on me. He also labelled his letter petty and misguided. It's neither petty nor misguided. Certainly it's not petty because you've been told 3 times. And it's certainly not misguided because it's accurate. He claimed that there was no FCDO official due to a last-minute rescheduling from Mr Erdogan's team. Well, if there's no official available, you don't go to the meeting. It's simple. And they need to start making it that if you do this, it becomes a crime. And we treat it as treason. And it should start with 10 years in prison. Simple. You have that meeting without an official as a government representative in your mind. Then you, having that meeting without standing, without international standing, without diplomatic standing, are committing treason. And the moment you land back in UK, you went to court, found guilty and given 10 years. That's it. It would only have to happen but the once. And if it was Angus or Humza Yousaf sitting there, bang, 10 years in jail, no one else would ever do it again because they knew they were serious about this shit. The Americans have it. They call it the Logan Act. We need one over here. He said that if officials were evicted from the UK embassy, it would affect Scottish business. No, it won't. The UK embassies can be perfectly used by United Kingdom representatives to do exactly the same work and push the regional bits for Scotland. There's no reason why that can't continue to happen. It just won't happen at, town councillor level of Humza Yousaf. Lord Cameron, he said, for Lord Cameron to say he's basically going to stop Scotland's international engagement because of one meeting, he's not. It's not one meeting, is it though? You're lying again. Can't help but lie, but you're lying again. He says where one FCDO official wasn't able to attend because, of course, at events like COP, diaries can change at quite last minute. It's really petty and pretty misguided. Like I say, if there's no official, you don't have the meeting, number one. And number two, it isn't one meeting. This is the 3rd time it's happened. You keep getting told. There must be a reckoning. Actions have consequences, and you are about to suffer the consequences of your actions. He said, I suggested Lord Cameron that next time if he has an issue like that, he should just pick up the phone. I'm sure it can be resolved. Scotland is part of the UK, outside of London, that has attracted the most foreign direct investment for 8 years in a row. That's because it's so big. If you applied the same size of Scotland to an area of Britain, it would be much bigger investment in England than it would in Scotland. It's just that Scotland's very big. That's why it gets a lot of investment. There's lots of different areas in which to invest. I'm not running Scotland down, not by a long way, but of course the maths he's using is highly subjective, so I'm just reversing that subjectivity. And yes, of course they get a lot of investment, but it's the United Kingdom investment. Scotland doesn't get invested in its own Scottish pound, does it, for example? Now, it's this guy wanting to feel important, trying to build a fiefdom, or a satrap, should we say, and, failing miserably because he's such an idiot and he doesn't realise that the rules he's breaking have consequences. And he's about to find them out. Oh dear. But there he is, bended knee. Please, 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 don't close the embassies. I need to feel important. And if you close them right now, I'm a goner. And that, of course, is what it is. After the video you saw earlier, they're all starting to gang up on him. This will break him. Good. I'm coming up. Ultimately, that's what this plead is all about. He knows he's under threat. He knows there are invaders at the door. He's having the likes of Wishart coming after him, all the MPs down in London. There will be people now taking heart, looking at the Westminster group and taking heart in Holyrood, and maybe therefore raising their voices somewhat. His days are numbered and he knows it, and anything that like smacks of failure now will be seen as yet another failure. So he cannot afford for this to happen. So there he is. He gets on bended knee and pleads with Cameron. Please don't close them. They're very, very important to me. What a tit. Stopping there. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope that very soon I'll be reporting on his resignation, if not ousting. But until then, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.